Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Text number 27. Rishayaha Manavaha Devaha Rishayo Manavo Deva Rishayo Manavo Deva Manu Putra Maha Ojasaha Manuputra Mahaujasaha Manuputra Mahaujasaha Kalaha Sarve Harehe Eva Kalaha Sarve Harereva Kalaha Sarve Harereva Sa Prajapatayaha Smritaha Saprajapatayaha Smritaha Saprajapatayaha Smritaha Rishayo Manavo Deva Manuputra Mahaujasaha Kalaha Sarve Harireva Saprajapatayaha Smritaha Rishayo Manavo Deva Manuputra Mahaujasaha Kalaha Sarve Harireva Saprajapatayaha Smritaha Any of the Matajis? Rishayaha, all the sages. Manavaha, all the Manus. Devaha, all the demigods. Manuputraha, all the descendants of Manu. Maha Ojasaha, very powerful. Kalaha, portion of the plenary portion. Sarve, all collectively. Harehe, of the Lord. Eva, certainly. Saprajapatayaha, along with the Prajapatis. Smritaha, are known. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. All the rishis, manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu who are especially powerful are plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. Kindly repeat. All the rishis, manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu, who are especially powerful, are plenary portions or plenary or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those who are comparatively less powerful are called Vibhuti, and those who are comparatively more powerful are called Avesha incarnations. The sense of Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanati Virandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Very short purport by Srila Prabhupada for today's verse. This chapter is entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. In the previous verses, the various incarnations of the Supreme Lord have been described, like Matsya Avatara, Kurma Avatara, Dhanvantari, and the Prithu Maharaj, and Rishabhadev, Yajna, etc. So, like this, a lot of incarnations have been listed out. And here, it is today's verses further listing out more incarnations of the Lord. In the previous verse, of course, it is stated that the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. And it is mentioned here in today's verse that all the rishis, all the great sages, all the manus, Swayambhu Manu, Chakshusha Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, Raivata Manu, etc., all the devatas, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesha, all devatas, and all descendants of Manu who are especially powerful, any powerful personality, are plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. Prajapatis like Daksha Maharaj, various kinds of Kashyapa Muni, various kinds of Munis, Marichi, Kashyapa, Angira, etc. So all such personalities who are greatly powerful are also considered to be incarnations of the portions or the portions of the plenary portions of the Supreme Lord. Hari. Harehe Kalaha Sarve. All of them are considered Kala, that means plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Supreme Lord Hari. So, some of the people may be little more powerful, some may be little less powerful. Those who are very, very powerful are called Avesha or Shakti Avesha incarnations. And those who are a little less powerful are called Vibhutis, or they are manifestations of some opulent aspect of the Supreme Lord, Hari. Hari means Lord Krishna. That Hari, Krishna is the source of all incarnations, will be clarified further in the next verse. Here, what we have to understand is that generally, whenever we see somebody who is very powerful in terms of maybe one's intelligence, in terms of wealth, in terms of beauty, in terms of bodily strength, in terms of one's renunciation, somebody is very strongly, determinedly renounced. All such powerful beings, whenever we look at them, whenever we come across such people, naturally reverence comes out of our heart. Whenever we see some famous personality, somebody who is very intelligent, immediately what happens? We naturally feel respectful towards that person because he is exhibiting some power, maybe intellectual power, maybe money power, maybe political power, whatever kind of power is there. Whenever we see such people, naturally we feel respect in our heart. We have to understand that this respect stems from the fact that although we may not consciously, we may not be aware of this, or we may not consciously recognize this, still the fact is, all such powers are stemming from the Supreme Lord. As Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shasisuryayoho pranamaha sarva vedeshu shabdaha ke paurusham nrishu. Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya, O son of Kunti, he is referring to Arjuna. O Arjuna, son of Kunti, I am the taste of water. Whenever we feel thirsty, we have to drink water. We may try to drink various other things. We may try to drink Coca-Cola, or we may try to drink Pepsi, or we may try to drink some other beverage. But that can never slake our thirst like water can. Whenever we feel extremely thirsty, we have to drink water. We cannot live without water. Water is what sustains our life. In fact, it is said that according to the Vedas, food nourishes our body. And water is what sustains or nourishes our mind and intelligence and keeps the prana within the body. So if somebody is drinking water, he can continue to live, although he may not be taking any food. This may appear a little strange, that how can a person live without water? Actually, it is the truth. That if you are drinking water, then your body may become a little malnourished, but you will be able to continue living. Your prana will be sustained within the body. Some time back, few months back, in India, one group of people had gone for a trekking expedition within some forest area. And during the trekking expedition, one of the men, he got lost. And he lost his way, and trying to find his way back, he fell down a steep slope and he broke his leg. He was not able to move. And then this other people, they left the forest and they made their way back, and they realized that one person is missing from the group. Immediately they informed the police, and a search party was launched, and they started scouring the entire forest. 1 day passed, 2 days passed, 3 days passed, 1 week passed. They were not able to locate the person. 2 weeks passed, they could not locate the person. Hopes were dimming, because 2 weeks somebody is lost. What happened to the person, nobody can know. Finally, on the 15th day, they managed to locate him. And when they located him, he was sitting in one place, and he was alive, and he was conscious. He had no food supply, but still he survived. And he was fully conscious. They put him on the stretcher, they took him to the hospital, and all that. So how did he remain conscious? I mean, all of us, if we have to fast on one day, Janmashtami, by evening we'll all be lying down on the bed and practically we'll be feeling like our consciousness is going away. This man 15 days without food survived. Naturally, all the media went to him and asked him, how was your experience? How did you survive? What did you do to survive? He said, where he fell down, fortunately, he fell down and he broke his leg. The place where he broke his leg and fell down was right next to a water stream. And he said, I had no food with me. For 15 days, I was drinking water. Just on water, he survived. And he was conscious. So we can understand that actually water is what sustains one's prana. And therefore, without water we cannot live. You can drink all sorts of beverages, but ultimately at the end of the day, to properly quench your thirst, you need water. And when we drink water, that water has got a certain taste. And that taste of water, which quenches our thirst, Krishna says that is coming from him. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabha asmi shashi surya yoho. Prabha, the light which is emanated by the Shashi and Surya, by the moon and the sun, is also coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source of all light. Even these bulbs which we are all seeing, which are emanating light, the original source of that light is Krishna. And Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu, in the entire Vedas, any mantra you take will begin with the Omkara. If you look at the entire Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, etc., full of so many mantras, all of them start with the Pranava or Omkara. And that Omkara is actually a sound representation of Krishna. And then Krishna says not only Omkara, Shabdaha Ke, any sound that is generated within this universe, originally it stems from Krishna. Krishna is the source because of whom there is sound which can be produced. And then finally Krishna says, Paurusham Nrishu, the ability in man, ability in a human being also comes from Krishna. Therefore, whenever we see any person who is extremely capable, who is very intelligent or very powerful or very wealthy or very renounced or very beautiful or very famous, moment we see such people, automatically reverence comes out from the heart, because unconsciously we know that it is all such powers are coming from the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the source of all such powers. And as it is being mentioned here, various such powerful personalities are there. Rishis are there. They are highly renounced people. Manus are there. Swayambhu Manu, etc. They have got ruling power. They have the ability to rule over humankind, not just one nation or two nations. That is how Manu Samhita is followed by the entire humankind. The humankind is meant to follow the Manu Samhita. That means Manu has got that ruling power. Demigods, Devatas, they have got the powers to administer the whole universe. They are very powerful personalities and they live in great opulence in Swarga, in heaven. And all Prajapatis, they have the power, they have the ability to produce innumerable offspring. In the human society, if a man and if a husband and wife, they have one or two or three children, we appreciate such people that, oh, look at them, they got 3 children, they got 4 children. Of course, now in the families who are settled in the US, if they have one child itself, that is a big thing. If you have one child, if you are able to maintain, it's a very big achievement. But olden times, you see, people used to have, it used to be very common in households to have 5 children, 6 children, etc. Our grandparents and all of those people, if we see. So, the Prajapatis, people like Daksha Maharaj, Kashyapa Muni, etc., they had thousands of children. So, how is it possible when we hear such things in the Bhagavatam, we feel, how is it possible, yaar? How can somebody produce thousands of children? For us, even one child is a big thing. How can somebody produce thousands of children? So, just because something is not possible for me does not mean that it is not possible for anyone. For me, if I go into the gym, if I lift 10 kg, it will be a big thing. Now, that doesn't mean that in the Olympics, some weightlifter is going and participating in that. He can also lift only 10 kg. No, he will lift 250 kg, 350 kg. Because he has got that power. Similarly, the ability to produce a lot of offspring is also an opulence which is displayed by the Prajapatis. So all such powers are actually coming from Krishna, Hari. And therefore, whenever we see a powerful person or a wealthy person or a very intelligent person or a very renounced person or a very beautiful person, we have to understand that they are displaying some small fragment of Krishna's opulences. And therefore, all such extremely powerful persons, we have to understand that they have been blessed by the Supreme Lord with that power. And therefore, such persons are considered plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Supreme Lord Hari. And Krishna or Hari, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the Avatari. All the avatars that have been described, they are all avatars, meaning incarnations. The people, the personalities who have incarnated. When we say the personality is incarnated, that means he must have a source. From whom are they incarnating? Who is the person who is incarnating? Incarnate means to come into this world. To take a form within this material world is called incarnation. Now, somebody is there who is taking a form in this material world. Many, many forms, as it has been described, like rivulets flowing from the inexhaustible sources of water. Innumerable, infinite incarnations of the Lord are coming into this world. Then the question comes, who is the person who is incarnating? That the Bhagavatam is clarifying, that is Hari, Krishna. Now Krishna is not an avatara. Generally people misunderstand this. They think Krishna is also an avatara like all the others. Because in the list of avatars which has been described earlier, even Krishna's name is mentioned. So Krishna is also an avatara. That is people's general misconception. So although Krishna may come into this material world, we have to understand that as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. Krishna, when he descends, he comes on his own. He is not incarnating as the incarnation of somebody else. Krishna is coming himself. Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. He is dependent only upon himself to incarnate. Whereas all other incarnations are dependent upon Krishna. Now even Krishna, if we look at Krishna, Krishna displays many, many forms. Krishna displays the body of a small baby when he advented as a child of Devaki and Vasudeva. And then he grew up into a small boy. The first 5 years of a child are called Kaumara. As Krishna displayed his Kaumara Leela. As a Kumara, he was a small young boy and he would run around, break all the pots of the various gopis and steal butter and curd. And when his stomach would be filled, he will feed all the monkeys of Vrindavan, the celebrated monkeys of Vrindavan. And when they would also be finished eating, Krishna would say, this butter is useless. Even monkeys don't want to eat it. And he will break all the pots and throw all the butter here and there and he will run away. So all these kind of leelas he would do. And then Yashoda Mai got upset with so much with his naughtiness that she had to tie him by a rope to a wooden mortar. And we all know how Krishna delivered the Yamalarjuna trees in this pastime as Damodara. All these leelas Krishna displayed in his in his Kaumara form. Then from 5 to 10 years, the boys are called Pauganda. Pauganda is the phase of life from 5 to 10 years of age. At that time, what happens is, Krishna starts taking the calves out for herding in the groves of Vrindavan. Gopashtami is the day from which Krishna started taking out the calves. And Krishna would take the calves out for grazing and he would play with his friends, with his sakhas, like Subala, Sridama, etc. in the forests of Vrindavan. And during these leelas, so many asuras Krishna killed, like Aghasura, Bakasura. All these asuras attacked Krishna when Krishna was playing with his friends in the forest, and Krishna killed all of them. And then, from 10 years to 15 years is called Kaishora age. During that time, a person is called Kishora, when a person is 10 to 15 years old. And when Krishna entered the Kishora age, when he crossed 10 years of age, that is when Krishna's Madhurya started manifesting. The sweetness of Krishna's beauty and the sweetness of the playing of Krishna's flute manifested itself. That is the time when the gopis become attracted to Krishna. When they hear Krishna's flute, their mind becomes bewildered. And when they are carrying out their household chores, whatever duties they are carrying out, their hands become stunned, their legs don't move, and the tears are flowing from their eyes. Spontaneously, that attraction manifests itself in the heart of the gopis when Krishna steps into Kaishora age. And then when 15 years is over, then Krishna becomes a youth, he becomes a yuvaka. And amazingly enough, although Krishna manifests these different forms, Krishna grows from babyhood to childhood to boyhood and finally to youth. After that, Krishna does not age. When the Mahabharata war took place, Krishna was 95 years old. 90 years old, I think. Yeah, 90 years old. 90 years old. Somebody is 60 years, 70 years in this old, face will all become wrinkled. All dentures will be on. Hair, you need some wig or some dyeing to keep it in place. 90 years, though, the person will be on wheelchair. That's naturally what happens in this world. But Krishna is in the midst of the battlefield, sitting on the chariot, maneuvering the chariot this way, that way, protecting Arjuna from the different warriors. Fully energetic. And if you look at the face of Lord Krishna, you can see on the cover of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is driving the chariot of Arjuna. Looks like a just fresh youth. Freshly has stepped into 16-year-old, this one, youth he has stepped into. That is how he looks. Krishna amazingly never ages beyond 16 years. So, Krishna like this manifests different forms according to his age. So, the full beauty, the full sweetness of Krishna is manifested when Krishna enters into the Kishora age. That Kaishora Rupa of Krishna is where Krishna's full personality is exhibited. Although Krishna exhibits Pauganda, Kaumara, etc., but still the real, eternal, original form of Krishna is the Kishora Rupa. In the Kishora Rupa also, there is the beginning of Kaishora, which is when he steps into his 11th year. Then there are the middle Kaishora age, and then the last ending of Kaishora, when from 15 he is stepping into 16 years of age. When he is stepping into youth, that is the end of Kaishora age. And out of these three Kaishora stages also, the last stage of Kaishora, when Krishna is stepping into youth, just about to step into his 16th year, that is the real, original form of Krishna. That is the sweetest form of Krishna, which bewilders the mind of all the gopis and the birds and the flowing water of the Yamuna. And that is when Krishna performs his Rasa Leela and enjoys the highest, the ultimate, the epitome of his pleasure is enjoyed by Krishna at that age. And that Kishora Krishna is actually the original source of all incarnations. Harehe kalaha sarve eva. All incarnations, avataras, are coming from that Kishora Rupa of Krishna. And therefore, that Kishora Krishna is actually the avatari. He is the source of all incarnations. And all incarnations emanate from him. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything is emanating from him. When Krishna says everything is emanating from him, what does it mean? This whole material manifestation is emanating from him. Whatever we see, the earth, the sun, the moon, the hills, the mountains, everything is emanating from Krishna. Not only this material manifestation, even the spiritual world is emanating from Krishna. Not only the spiritual and material manifestation, all the living entities we see, they are also emanating from Krishna. Not only all the living entities, even all the avataras are originally emanating from Krishna. Therefore, Krishna says, Mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything is emanating from Krishna. And that Kishora Krishna, who is the original Supreme Lord, is incarnating himself not only as the various personalities which is described, not only as Meena, Kurma, Parasurama, Lord Ramachandra, etc., but also as the Devatas, as the Rishis, as the Munis, etc., and as the Prajapatis and all of these. And also he incarnates whenever a pure devotee invites him as the Archa Vigraha. The special characteristic of the Archa Murti, Archa Vigraha, what was instituted by Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON, compared to all other temples, we have to understand the significance of that. Temples of Krishna are there everywhere. Temples of Narayana are there. Temples of Vishnu are there. So many famous temples are there. If you go to Tirupati, Tirupati Balaji is there. Vishnu, very famous. Lot of thousands and thousands of people, millions of people visit every day to have his darshan. So, like that, there are many. You go to Srirangam, Srirangapatana, Lord, again, Vishnu, Garbhodakasai Vishnu, he is lying down, and on Ananta Shesha, millions of people visit for darshan. There are many temples of the Lord, and there are many temples of Krishna also. Guruvayur is Krishna temple. Udupi is Krishna temple. All of them. So we have many temples. Now what is unique about the temples of Krishna established by Prabhupada is that Prabhupada instituted a form of worship and the dressing of the deities. It is very, very significant. It's not some random thing that Prabhupada chose and gave us. No. Prabhupada says that the form of dressing and the form of worship Prabhupada has given us is the worship of the Kishora Rupa of Krishna. The way we dress the deities, what was instituted by Prabhupada, is the way Kishora Krishna dresses himself and Kishori Radharani dresses herself. Because according to the age, the dresses also change. The children are in the Vedic Varnashrama system, children are dressed differently, youngsters are dressing differently, the grown-up elders, they dress themselves differently. So, Prabhupada was very, very specific that we have to worship the Kishora Rupa of Krishna, who is the original form of Krishna in the spiritual world. That is that last stage of Kaishora of Krishna. So, we have got this wonderful opportunity to worship not just some avatara of the Lord, but the avatari, the source of all incarnations, Krishna. And that also, the culmination of Krishna's original form, which is his Kishora Rupa. So you can see how the Acharyas, Prabhupada, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, especially Prabhupada, are very, very specific and pointed out in determining who is the original source of all incarnations. Very, very specific. And Prabhupada has given us the process of deity worship so that by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and worshipping Radha Krishna deities, we will go back to Goloka Vrindavan, where we can associate with Krishna and his gopis and engage in the Madhurya Rasa pastimes of Krishna, which is the ultimate rasa, which is the culmination, which is the topmost relationship which a jiva can establish with Krishna in Madhurya Rasa. And that is why even when we sing Tulasi Arati, when we do Tulasi Arati, we sing our prayers to Tulsi Maharani. What do we sing? Koro Nija Dasi. We sing to Tulsi Maharani that please give me Seva Adhikara, please engage me in the service of Radha and Krishna and make me a Dasi. Make me a servant, maid servant of yours so that I can serve Radha and Krishna in their Madhurya Leela. The aspiration is set for the devotees in Prabhupada's movement that we should all aspire to become maid servants of Tulsi Maharani, of Vrinde Devi, of the gopis, of the Sakhis, so that we can assist them in their pastimes of Madhurya Leela of Radha and Krishna. So, this actually the Srimad Bhagavatam also is pointing out this very fine thing. Who is that Supreme Personality of Godhead? What is His ultimate form? And what is the ultimate relationship a jiva can establish with that Supreme Lord Krishna? And actually the whole Bhagavatam builds this up over 9 cantos, bringing us to the final point that it is Krishna who is the Supreme Lord. And in Krishna also, all the Kaumara, Pauganda, Kaishora, all these things are described. And finally, it is established that the Kaishora Rupa of Krishna is the real Avatari, who is the source of all incarnations and who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Giving us a very clear goal of life. By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, simply by these 2 activities, every day without fail, if we engage in that, ultimately we will develop that Madhurya Rasa and we will be able to go to Goloka Vrindavan to serve that Kishora Krishna. So that is the aim of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is why the Bhagavatam is pointing out any powerful personality you see in this world, do not get carried away by them. You have to understand that all of them are simply a fragment of Krishna's power, Krishna's vibhuti. They are all, everything you see, anything powerful in this world, even the sun is the most powerful planet in this world, even that is emanating from Krishna. Prabhasmi Shashi Surya Yoho. So therefore, we must understand the Srimad Bhagavatam and study the Srimad Bhagavatam every day, and by that our forgotten relationship with Krishna will be re-established and we will be able to go back to the Goloka Vrindavan where Krishna engages in his eternal leelas, and we can associate with that eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of everything that we see in this world. So these are some of the things which we can understand from today's verse. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. Anybody has? Yes, please. Yeah. Yes. "10 years and 6 months. Yes. Yeah, actually, if we see, the Bhagavatam explains that Krishna performed the Rasa Leela with the gopis when he was 8 years old. So when it is said that Kaumara is up to 5 years of age, Pauganda is from 5th year to 10th year, and Kaishora is from 11th to 15th year, and after that is youth. When it is said, this is for general people. Generally, it is for normal human beings, that is the division. When it comes to Krishna and Balaram, it is stated in the Bhagavatam that when Krishna and Balaram were still crawling on the ground, they would crawl on the ground and they would go to the cow pen and they would catch the tail of some calf. And the calf would start running out of fear. And it would drag Krishna and Balaram along the floor. And the floor would be full of mud and cow dung. Krishna's and Balaram's whole body would get covered by cow dung and mud. And Yashodamai and all the gopis, seeing this fun, they would all start laughing. That they look at Krishna and Balaram, what is this, all this naughtiness that they are doing? And then they would take them and and bathe them and clean them and all those kind of things. When the Bhagavatam describes this, then the Bhagavatam describes very quickly Krishna and Balaram started standing up on their own feet and they started walking around. Normally, a child, a baby, when it starts crawling, there is a certain age for that. And then slowly the baby starts standing up, and then somebody has to hold the hands and then teach the parents, teach the children how to walk. And it takes them a few years and months to come to be able to stand on their own legs and to be able to walk. Normally, babies, when they start walking, they'll not be very steady. They'll take a few steps and they'll fall down. And then they will get up, walk a few steps, fall down. Slowly, they develop. But in the case of Krishna and Balaram, it is said that they were crawling and very quickly they started standing up and they started walking on their feet very strongly, very independently. Therefore, we have to understand from the Bhagavatam, when it says very quickly, it means that much before their scheduled age, Krishna and Balaram were growing. They were growing very fast. By the time Krishna had come to 8 years of age, although in the case of ordinary children, 8 years means you are still in the age of Kaumara, Krishna and Balaram had already started manifesting Kaishora characteristics. This is because Krishna and Balaram are supremely powerful. They were exhibiting their pastimes. So very quickly, Krishna wanted to manifest his Kaishora Rupa and he wanted to enjoy with the gopis. And therefore, Krishna did not want to wait till his 15th year to establish, to develop, to manifest his Kaishora characteristics. By his 8th year, he started manifesting all his Kaishora characteristics. That is how we have to understand. Is that okay?
The question is, as you mentioned, Krishna went to take calves in the forest.
Yes.
So that is Gopashtami.
Yeah.
Then when is that day when Krishna, instead of calves, he takes the cows?
That is also Gopashtami.
Both are.
Yeah, both are Gopashtami. So in Kartik, the Gopashtami, when it happens, it is said that Krishna started taking the cows for grazing. As far as I remember, I think calves also was on Gopashtami. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was the cows. Anybody else? Yes, please.
Prabhupada mentions Krishna in Goloka Vrindavana, he is in his original Shamasundara form.
Yes.
So does that imply the Kishora form?
Yes. That is that Kishora form of Krishna, because in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is constantly enjoying with the gopis. All the Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambhrama Sevyamanam. So Krishna is served by millions of gopis. So it is in the Kaishora form only.
The other forms, it's not called Shamasundara.
They are also Shamasundara, but this is the original form of Krishna. Other forms Krishna manifests to engage in various leelas with his devotees. So Krishna manifests his Balya form also for enjoying the Balya pastimes with Yashodamai and Nanda Maharaj, like that. But the original form of Krishna is that Kaishora Rupa. Is that okay? Yes, please.
I think you partially answered this already, bro. So, when we go back to Goloka, so if that's the final form that we will see, will we not have variety there?
Varieties will be there. All the pastimes which Krishna manifests within this earthly planet, 5,000 years ago, whatever Krishna manifested, those leelas are eternally going on in Goloka Vrindavan. There are different, different divisions even in Goloka. There is Gokula, where Krishna performs the pastime of being born to Yashodamai and Nanda Maharaj. And in Vrindavan, Krishna performs all his pastimes of herding the cows and performing the Ras Leela, etc. So within those divisions, those respective pastimes will be going on eternally. That is how we understand. Even Kaliya, Damana, Leela, all those things are going on eternally in the spiritual world. When we say eternally, that means Krishna will manifest that pastime at some point of time, and then it will be repeated after some duration of time. So eternally those leelas are going on in the spiritual world. So whatever we see in this material world, Krishna manifested 5,000 years ago, they are a replica of what actually happens in Goloka Vrindavan. So all those things are constantly, eternally going on in the spiritual world, and the Lord is constantly engaged in exchanging Vatsalya Rasa with Yashodama and Nanda Maharaj. He is constantly engaged in exchanging Madhurya Rasa with the gopis. All these things are going on eternally. That's how we understand. We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.